Let's start and talk about this partnership you got going on with USAA. I know they're giving a vehicle away to a veteran. How's that all rolling out, and how'd you get involved with this?
Yeah, I'm blessed to have done some things in the past with USAA, and this was brought to my attention to be something that I can potentially be a part of, and I'm thankful to be a part of it. To see Army and Navy, to first of all see it in person. I've watched it on TV for a couple of times. Obviously, I've played in Philadelphia, and it's right there at the link. But to now be a part of it on this side and to see them battle, but when it's all said and done, knowing that when they walk off that field, that they're basically teammates and doing something bigger. And so that's what I see me and Jason kind of doing the same thing. Me and Jason Witten, like we've battled for many years, Eagles, Dallas, but we're both coming together to help announce this and to celebrate those veterans who are going to be receiving that recycled ride by USAA.
And why is this so important to you personally to give back to our veterans and support our veterans?
Yeah, so I had my nephew served in the Army, and so he's battling some things even since then. So it's such a pleasure once again to be on the docket, so to speak, the ticket, so to speak, to celebrate that, to bring up some more awareness to what USAA are doing for those veterans.
Okay. And then you mentioned Jason Witten. Obviously, you guys have had some battles during your playing days. How fun is that to now be a part of this with him? And do you have any favorite memories of playing against him you can share with us?
The way that I've always seen Jason, it reminds me of what Shaq named Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, right? And so Jason wasn't the fastest of dudes. He wasn't the most shifty, quick twitch of guys, but he was extremely consistent in what he did. And he did it for a long period of time. So being able to go against him and the consistency that he's had over his career was a tremendous honor for me to go against him. Like it was a blessing to go against someone like that. I really, there's certain guys that I love battling. And so he was one of those dudes as a tight end position. He's an extremely good blocker, holder, but blocker as well. And so those batters were tremendous for me.
I just want to get some comments on this current Eagles team from you, since you're such a legend and everyone respects your opinion, obviously. I just want to start with the safety group. CJ Gardner-Johnson obviously was having a great year. Now he's hurt. He's supposed to come back. What have you seen out of him so far this year, and what makes him stand out to you?
The thing that I loved most, first of all, I recognized CJ when he was with the Saints. Like to me, he was a dude that stood out, even when he was playing in the position that he was playing. But one of the things that happened with the New Orleans is he wasn't blessed to do what he's doing now. When he was in New Orleans, he was basically playing a whole lot of man-to-man coverage. You can't be the player that you can be, I'll say it like that, if you're not given the ability to roam sometimes, to be a chess piece. So he's using his instincts, his range, all of those things, and he can cover the slot. He can still do those things. But now you have a player that can affect the game in every statistical category, to be honest with you. Obviously, he's doing it with picks, but he's making key stops in the open field when he was injured. And here's the other thing. It adds to the competition in the room. So having that competition in the room, it really makes the other players better. His Epps, I believe, has his playing, probably, I believe, a career year for him. Like he's making plays all over the place. And I won't say it's just because of CJ. I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to tell you that a lot of it is because of when you see that talent, you see him taking the chances that he can take, and I'm pretty sure they're kind of trading kind of secrets a little bit. It allows that young man to up his game, and I believe he's playing his best year as an Eagle as well.
Yeah, they were very high on him going back to the end of last season into training camp, so they were right. They nailed him being a stud starter. And outside of them, like some of the backups, what just have you seen out of this safety group as a whole? I know this undrafted rookie Blankenship's been playing lights out the past game and a half. What have you seen from some of the backups, especially Reed?
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. You have to have those individuals step up. The cliche, next up, right? Next man up. That's the cliche for everybody, but it's not a reality, that person will step up and be able to perform well. When you have that young man, I was in the box when we were honoring Trent and Hugh into the Eagles Hall of Fame. So I came back to the game against Green Bay. And when I saw that young man jump in front of, first of all, bait Aaron Rodgers, and then jump in front of that dude and pick it as easily as he's did, again, that's not something a young player usually does. So that tells me that behind the scene, he's getting a whole lot of work, a whole lot of confidence poured into him by the coaching staff to allow him to be himself 100% on the field. And so when you're 100%, you can see what this young man can do. He can make that play, but he also comes up to stuff to run pretty well. So there's specific things that you can see. Also, there's some things he can work on, but I just see these qualities that he has as a young player that, again, if he doesn't have confidence, he doesn't do those things.
It's got to help that the D coordinator comes from a secondary background. He was a defensive backs coach, right? I would think that would help you.
Yeah, it's again, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know how much they converse and all those things, but I just know that usually when you have a player that's not just a player, when you have multiple players stepping in and doing well right away, that you have some coaches that are really spending some time with those players, or some veterans. I can't say just coaches, some veterans and coaches having some time spent with those players.
And we talked last year when your book was out, and we talked a lot about Jalen Hurts, and you just raved about his mindset and his mentality and some of the intangibles. Now we're seeing him develop as a passer and as a true, well-rounded quarterback, right? How have you seen him grow this year?
And that was the thing, right? The last time we talked, and I said that his mindset is one that I loved. His mindset, when you're able to go through and grow through adversity, and it does not change your mindset, it does not change your demeanor, you're able to withstand those things and still be a competitive dude, not complain about what other people are doing, only concern yourself about what you can get better at. And then now we see he can actually get better. And I saw that going from Alabama to Oklahoma. And you saw that from year one to year two. So you saw that not only does he recognize what some of us may recognize as him getting better, that he's able to actually go out and do it. So now the sky is the limit for him if he continues to do and go on that progression. But to me, it all started with that mindset that he and his father, his coach father, kind of developed in his early life.
Yeah, he speaks like a coach. Like it's incredible. Do you think he's the NFL MVP through 12 games?
I don't see at this point how you could not have him as that. Obviously, there's some games to be played and there's some other things to be, but his ability to affect the game, not just and some people are just going to lean on passing yards, and if it's just passing yards, then obviously it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, right? But if it's total offense of how you affect the game with your legs and your arm, I don't see at this point a team 10-1, and a lot of it has to do with the way that he plays the game. I don't see how you don't put him as that number one right now.
Cool. And I just wanted to ask you, I know you were around that 2017 team a lot. You were working in the front office at the time. Do you see any similarities between that team and this 2022 version? I know it's tough to compare, but do you see any similarities?
I guess the greatest similarity that you see is, and I know winning can do this, but it's a little bit deeper than that, I believe. You see the camaraderie of the guys. Like there really seems to be a sense of love and care for one another in that locker room. The celebrations and all of those things. When you see that, and you see, once again, I just mentioned earlier, when you see young guys step in and immediately have success, like that's a culture that has been being built there to manifest that, to bring the best out of anybody who comes here, no matter where you come from, no matter what your situations were then, because of what we do here, coaching and player, the atmosphere that competition, I believe, is very high in that building, which I love. And so those are some of the similarities that I see in this team.
Cool. And then lastly, I know going back to your playing days, you always used to talk about how much you hated the Giants. The Giants rivalry to you was more so than the Cowboys, which is backwards from the fans, right? They hate Dallas. So is that still true with you? And it's
It's
Giants week, so tell us
it,
about.
it's still that way for me, because again, with a rivalry, you usually have your back and forth, right? You have one team has it a couple of years and they get you, and that was the Giants for us. Like the Giants had our number for a while and we had theirs for a little bit, and then it became going back and forth. So to me, that's a rivalry. When I came through, and again, I don't say this from a bragging place. I just say this, that like my record against Dallas is pretty heavily in my favor. So it wasn't a rivalry for me when I came through. Again, fans, you've been fans for the Eagles longer than I've been a player. So you've been through some of the other things. I haven't been through those things. So for me, it's always been the Giants. So to me, this is the week. This is the week I was preparing for a very physical offensive line that was right on the edge of being dirty. I'm not going to call them dirty, but right on the edge. And I love that. I love going against a team that played the way that they played, preparing for Shockey, preparing for Brandon Jacobs back in the day, Tiki Barber. Like that was the Monty Tuber. I can't leave him out. Collins. I can't. So I can go through the name of these guys because, again, that was a physical game. I was excited to play it, and I knew I was going to be beat up after it, which was also a good thing when we win. But when you lose and beat up, that's not a good thing. But again, it was always the Giants for me.